All right. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to do a little bit of a chair workout and some standing work. Very foundationals, which is always good to review. So we're just standing hip width apart, standing nice and tall. Think about your posture, growing tall through the crown of the head. Try to bring your pelvis into neutral and making sure that your ribs are on top of the pelvis. 3 nice deep breaths as you grow tall through the crown of the head. From here, we're going to take a breath and raise our arms up overhead, stretching nice and tall, and then slowly lower. And it's okay to extend through the thoracic. Inhale, lifting the sternum up towards the ceiling. Exhale as we release. One more time. Inhale, nice deep breath. And exhale as we release. This time we're going to go overhead. One hand's going to grab the opposite wrist, and you're going to reach up and away. Coming back to center, switch hands. Opposite hand grabs the wrist and reach up and away. You come back to center and release. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, nice deep breath. One hand grabs the wrist. As I reach away with that top arm, I'm thinking about that foot pressing down into the ground. So this time when I go to the left, my right foot is pressing down into the ground to really emphasize that side stretch. Come back to center and release. One more time. Inhale, nice deep breath. Big stretch to one side, pulling with that opposite arm. Come back to center. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, back to center and release. Excellent. I'm just gonna turn sideways, but you can stay facing the camera. Again, feet are hip width apart and arms are across the chest. Keep your back straight as you hinge through the hips and then coming back up to standing. So think about your back staying straight, hinging through the hips. We don't want to lock the knees. We want to be soft through the knees so that we load the hamstrings and we keep those abdominals on. Inhale as you hinge, exhale as you come up. Inhale forward, exhale. 2 more. And then we're going to do single leg, but we're going to do it with a kickstand. So you're going to take one foot back, and that foot is there just for balance purposes. And then you're going to do the same kind of movement. You're going to hinge through the hips. My weight is in the front leg, and then come up. This is just in case. Inhale, you hinge. Try to keep your hips square. Exhale up. Inhale as you hinge to the hips. Try to keep the hips square. Connect into the glute. Come back up, and we want to keep those lower abdominals firing. Inhale forward. Exhale up. Good. We're going to switch sides. So again, standing nice and tall. My weight is in the standing leg. My kickstand leg is just there for balance purposes. I'm not trying to load that leg. Soft through the standing knee, hinging through the hips, keeping the hips nice and square, and keeping those lower abdominals on. 1 more. Good. And then we're going to move to some seated exercises. So make sure you have a chair. If not, go grab one, and then we'll move on to that. All right. Hopefully you've gotten your chair. We're not going to use it just yet. We're going to do some hip circles first. So feet are wide, hands are on your hip bones. Think of, first I'm going to break it down slowly, and then we're going to make it flow. So you're going to pop your hip to one side, bring your hips back, pop your hip over to the opposite side, and then your hips come forward. So it's side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward. If I make it flow, think of a hula hoop on your hips And you're trying to get that hula hoop to stay up by moving those hips. So what we don't want to think about is leading with the chest. Like a lot of people will try to do their circles with their chest. We want to think of it coming from the hips. So you will see the thighs moving in space. We're going to change direction. So pop the opposite hip out first. Back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward. Good, and then make it flow. Let it blend into each other. One more, and then we're gonna take a seat. So when you sit on your chair, sit on the front edge. So we're sitting on our sit bones, sitting up nice and tall, and we're just gonna actively think about contracting our back muscles. So I'm gonna press my palms back in space, feel my shoulder blades come towards each other, feel the shoulder blades squeeze, and then release. And then again, exhale, press back and squeeze, and release. Think collarbones wide as you press back, and then release. Two more. Exhale back, inhale forward, exhale back, inhale forward. Arms are going to come out to the side like an airplane. My thumb is pointing up, it's just outside of the screen. Same concept. Pull back, feel the shoulder blades pinch, and release. Exhale wide across the collarbones. Make sure your shoulders aren't hiking up towards your ears. Exhale back, inhale forward. One more. And then just release and roll those shoulders out. From there, we're gonna do some nerve flosses. So I always like to call it the 80s bob, and you're going to fluff your bob. So your arms are gonna come out to your side. When you hit the top, your palms are facing the ceiling. You do a little pulse and then release. And then again, inhale, pulse, pulse. The other way you can think of it is we're raising the roof. Raise the roof and back out. Reaching nice and long through those fingertips and back out. Two more. Pulse, pulse, raise the roof. And last one, raise the roof and back out. So I'm actually going to move my chair to the side, mainly so that you can see at least a full arm. But both arms are going to do this exercise. Arms are reaching forward. You're going to come out so that your arm lines up. So my arm is not extended back, it's lining up with my torso. And then from the wrist, keeping the fingers straight, reach the fingertips back and then release. So with these movements, we don't want to hold them. We want to move in and out of it. We want them to flow. We got two more. Reach the fingertips back and then release. And last one. Good. And then the last one of this series, I like to call it teacup. You've got your teacup in your hand. It doesn't have to be tea, whatever kind of drink that you like, but don't let it spill. Fingertips run along the side of the body and through. Don't let that teacup spill. This is where people tend to flip their hand. Bring the teacup back through and open up wide across those collarbones. Same thing, fingertips go through and return. We're still thinking about our posture, still growing tall through the crown of the head. Lower abdominals are on as you rotate or spiral that arm through. We're going to do one more of these. Excellent. I'm going to move the chair back into the center, and then we're going to do some wrist stretches. So your arm is pointed out straight, fingertips are straight, and you're going to flip your palm up towards the ceiling. Grab your wrist and draw your wrist down and hold it for 3 breaths. So the key is watch the shoulder. Shoulder often likes to hike up towards the ear, so keep the shoulder down away from the ear. 3 nice deep breaths. And then bring that elbow, so bend the elbow into your waistline. Again, shoulder down from the ear and keep drawing those fingertips towards you. 3 nice deep breaths. And we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. So palm is up towards the ceiling. Extend through the wrist, draw the wrist down, and breathe 3 breaths. Don't let the shoulders hike. Still being aware of your posture, keeping those lower abdominals on. And then slide that elbow in towards the waistline, keeping the shoulder down, and 3 breaths. And release. Interlace your fingers, and we're gonna do figure 8s with the wrist. So think of drawing an 8 with your wrist as you do circles. So again, still sitting up nice and tall, always aware of your posture. Keep your shoulders nice and relaxed as you do your figure 8. Now the challenge is, can you reverse it? Sometimes it's hard to know, is this reverse or not? That is always the challenge. All right, last one. And then we are going into finger adduction. So you're taking the thumb, drawing it across to your baby finger, spread the fingers. It's important to make sure that we spread on each repetition. Bring it to the ring finger, spread, middle finger, spread, pointer finger, spread. So alternating, open and close, and really think about stretching the fingers out as you do this. And sometimes the toes like to wiggle, because toes and fingers like to do the same thing sometimes. Last one, and then thumb circles. And reverse. Good. So again, make sure you're sitting on the edge of your seat. Hands are on the thighs. I always like to have it on the thighs. We're sitting up nice and tall. Grow tall through the crown of your head on your inhale. Exhale, forward fold and round up and over. So my hands slide down the shins. Inhale into the back and the sides of the ribs. Exhale as you stack up nice and tall. So I'm going to actually turn sideways so that you can see how my pelvis is staying still, and I'm forward folding from the thoracic spine. So again, inhale, exhale, inhale, hold, exhale, sit up nice and tall. And we're going to do 3 more. Inhale. And again, we're thinking about posture each time. And if you want to take it to 2 breaths, just exhale forward. Inhale nice and tall. Last one. Exhale forward. Inhale nice and tall. Good. From there, arms are across the chest. We're still sitting up nice and tall. You rotate, but don't let the shoulders hike up towards the ears as you twist. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the opposite side. Inhale back to center. So we want to avoid the shoulders from hiking. We want to keep the pelvis nice and still. And the other thing that commonly happens is people will actually lean back as they twist because they're trying to make the rotation bigger. So making sure that you're staying right on those sit bones and maintaining that posture as you rotate side to side. From there, let's go into our side bend. I always like to use the side of the chair or your thighs, and then you slide down on the side of the chair as the opposite arm reaches up and over, and then come back to center. We'll alternate sides, and as that arm comes up, make sure that we're not hiking the shoulder. Inhale up and over. Exhale as we come back to center. So again, the pelvis is staying nice and still as we move through the thoracic. And it's a nice stretch, so enjoy it. Even stay there for a moment before you come back to center. One more on each side. Good. All right. Then from here, maintaining your posture. So the challenge with these exercises is that we can really use our thighs to do the exercise. It's not that you won't, it's that we need to make sure that we're also using our abdominals. So think about pull your lower abdominals in and then hover one foot off the floor. Slowly lower. We'll stay on the same side. Engage those abdominals, lift from the hip. Lower back down. My pelvis should not tilt back as I do these. So again, I'm staying on my sit bones as I lift and lower. Exhale up. Inhale down. One more. Excellent. We're going to switch sides. Same thing. Exhale. Lift from the stomach. Control it down. So you might notice a difference from side to side. I am very hip flexor dominant on this side, so it's very challenging not to grip into the hips. So I have to really think abs and lift from that stomach. And then I can feel the release through the hip flexor. Exhale. Inhale. One more. Good. We're going to continue with that, but we're going to alternate because we're going to add in the opposite arm. So still think, lift from the abdominals, stay on the sit bones, maintain that posture as opposite arm and leg lift. Exhale. Inhale down. Excellent. From there, we're going to extend one leg out. So again, it's not that you're not going to use your thigh, but that we want to think about really engaging through the abdominals. The lever is longer, so again, watch that you don't sink into the back of the pelvis. We want to stay nice and tall, abdominals are on, think of posture. It's okay to hold the chair. Lift from the thigh and control it down. Exhale up. One more. And then switch. So this exercise can also be done and turned out. So you rotate from the hip, not the knee or the ankle. The thigh is externally rotated, and then lift from there. So the reason I say that is that might help prevent the hip flexor from gripping. So on this side, because that's where I tend to grip, externally rotating helps me connect into those abdominals better as I lift and lower. One more. Good. And rest. So we've got one more in this position. We're going to just extend the leg. So I want you to think, pull up on your kneecap. Now you are isolating that thigh to extend the leg. So think about tightening your thigh, pull up on the kneecap to straighten, control it back down. Pull up on the kneecap to straighten, relax it back down. Exhale, still think about those abdominals drawing in. Exhale in, inhale down. Last one. I told you to inhale in both directions. Remember to exhale. So switch legs. Pull up on the kneecap, exhale up, inhale down. Exhale up, inhale down. So remember that you don't always have to do exactly what I said for the breathing. Just make sure that you're breathing comfortably. You're not holding your breath and you're able to maintain your form without the breath affecting it. That was our last one. I want you to take your feet wide. You could do this hip width apart, but I like it wide just because it gives you a little more room to move. And then we're going to rotate the thigh in and out. So we're going to rotate the knee in. It came from my hip joint, not my knee. Rotate out. Pivot in, pivot out. So we're just trying to get that rotation through the hip joint. Inhale forward, exhale back. And then same thing on the opposite side. Rotate in and out. And again, you might notice that difference from side to side. Our hips are not necessarily structured the exact same, so the strength and the mobility may vary. Last one. Now can you coordinate it? Both legs together, both legs to the right, both legs to the left. Internal on one side, external on the other, and switch. Can you tap your head and rub your belly? I'm just getting you on that one. All right, so we are coming to standing. If you need a dowel, have a dowel, or you can use the back of the chair. So we're gonna switch to that now. So now you have either the back of your chair or your dowel to help you with standing. Feet are hip width apart. Again, thinking about our posture, standing nice and tall, just starting with a high knee. Exhale as you come up. Inhale back down. So my weight is in this standing leg even when I lower the leg. Exhale up. Inhale down. Think about lifting from your lower abdominals and maintaining that nice tall posture as we lift and lower. Slowly lower the foot. We're going to switch sides. Again, exhale up. Inhale down. Think lift from the stomach. Exhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. We got two more. Good. Then from there, we're doing our standing clam. So you just place your foot either just above or below the knee. Hips are square. The hips remain square as you rotate open in the hip and close. Inhale as you rotate open. Exhale, close. Inhale. So you're thinking about the standing glute staying active. And again, you've got your prop to help you balance if you need it. Exhale, rotate open. Inhale, close. Making sure lower abdominals are on and still growing tall through the crown of your head. One more. And we're going to switch legs. So same thing on the opposite side. Nice and tall. Rotate open. Make sure your hip bones are remaining pointing forward as you rotate the thigh open. If the hips start to pivot, the movement is too big. Inhale as you rotate. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Two more. And then we're going to do adductions, or our inner thighs. So we're going to switch legs again. Now, you don't have to go very far. If we're going too far, we might lose the integrity of the hip because we want to keep the glute active. So the leg is in front. Think of squeezing your inner thighs together and then just release back to neutral. Exhale, press across, squeeze the inner thighs together, and then release back to center. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, release. One more. And then we'll switch legs. So again, shift the weight into that foot. Make sure you connect into the glute. Inner thighs to squeeze across the midline and come back to your neutral. Keep those hip bones nice and level. Exhale as you squeeze and press across, and then release. Exhale across, inhale back. And you can still be using your chair if you still need it. Don't follow me just because that's what I'm doing. Use the props that you need. Last one, and then release. From there, we are going into, I always call it tippy bird or single leg deadlift. So we want to again think about our hips being square. I'm just turning sideways so that you can see the alignment of my body. Let's move this forward a little bit. So if you have your stick, it will be in front of you or the back of your chair. We want to keep the hip bones square. We're going to teeter-totter forward at the hips, and then we come back up to standing. Only let the upper body lower as far as the leg can lift. So what I mean is, if your leg is done here, I don't want you to continue lowering your upper body. We're losing that alignment. You want to think of being a straight line. So we teeter-totter forward, going where the heel can, and then coming up. We want to keep the hip square, so don't let the hip rotate open just because it's going to give you more height. We want those hip bones forward. Inhale, teeter-totter forward. Exhale up. Make sure that you are not locking your standing knee. And we have one more here. Inhale forward. Exhale up. Let's switch legs. So again, shift the weight into that standing leg. Make sure you're not locking the knee, but connecting into the glute. Inhale forward. Exhale up. Inhale forward. Try to keep those hip bones square. Try to spread the weight across the balls of the toes. 2 more. Excellent. So to finish, we're going to do prancing or running on the spot. So one heel lifts and that knee bends, and then you rise up and switch feet. So pelvis stays in neutral, hip bones are level. Think about growing tall through the crown of the head as you articulate through the foot, alternating from one leg to the other. If you feel comfortable without holding on to something, you can let the arms swing and think of it as like running on the spot, and you're just letting the arms go as your legs go. So from here, we're gonna move down to the mat and do a little bit of stuff on our back, and then we're all done. All right, so now we are on our back. So we're gonna lie down, find our neutral. Make sure our hip bones and pubic bone are nice and level. Lower abdominals are on, back of the ribs are connected to the mat. From here, inhale, just float your arms where you can up without losing the positioning of your ribs. Exhale, back down. Inhale up. Exhale, back down. Think about keeping the pelvis and the ribs in place as you lift and lower. And to do that, we want to keep those lower abdominals on. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more. We're going to do arm circles, but your positioning of arm circles may vary. You might stay low if this is more appropriate for your shoulders, but if you can, bring your arms up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to do arm circles here. Inhale up and exhale out and around. Again, keeping that rib placement, keeping the lower abdominals on, and keeping the tension out of your neck and shoulders. One more of these, and then we're going to switch directions. Inhale and exhale. So if you're lying on your back and you have some neck discomfort, you might benefit from putting a pillow underneath your head, or actually putting a pillow that runs lengthwise underneath your head and shoulders. And then that will help you find that rib position. So relax there. We're gonna extend our arms up towards the ceiling. Palms are facing towards your thighs, and you're gonna go wide and bring your elbows down towards the floor to open up through the chest, and then reach back up towards the ceiling. Inhale as you come down. Exhale back up. Inhale down. Exhale up. We're going to do 2 more. Wide across the collarbones, keeping those lower abdominals on, and again, keeping the chest or the ribs connected to the mat. This is our last one. And then you can relax your arms. From here, we're going to do some legs. So again, lower abdominals are on. Use your abdominals to bring one knee up to tabletop, not letting the pelvis shift at all, and then nice and slow back down. We're going to stay on the same side. Exhale up, inhale down. So we don't want any shifting side to side or any arching into the back. We want to try to either keep our back flat into the mat if that's where we typically do our back work, so then there's no space that comes in while you're there. We're going to switch legs. Or if you're someone who's in neutral and you have a naturally a little bit of space underneath your low back, just think about how that's going to stay the same. So it shouldn't increase or decrease. So again, we're thinking about pelvis staying still, lower abdominals on. Exhale as you bring the knee up to tabletop. Inhale as you slowly lower down. We got one more. We're going to go back to our first side to finish. think of your kneecap as your marker, and you're just drawing circles on the ceiling. So again, the pelvis is staying nice and still. Lower abdominals are on. You're just drawing teeny little circles on the ceiling, thinking about drawing those lower abdominals in. And we're going to change directions. Inhale away. Exhale towards you. Think about that thigh rotating in the hip joint. And one more. And then slowly lower down. Same thing on the opposite side. Little circles in the hip joint. Concentrate on keeping the pelvis nice and steady. Don't let them get too big. Inhale away. Exhale towards you. And then we're going to switch directions. And last one. Slowly lower the leg and just finish by bringing your knees into your chest, giving them a little hug and rocking side to side. So there you go. Kind of focusing on foundations, a beginner workout that includes a little bit of standing, some wrist mobility, shoulder mobility, and then some basic mat work. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.